Chapter 92. Challenge Accepted. Benjamin. I wake up before my alarm. Pitch black outside. I knew I couldn't get back to sleep. Fear paralyzed me. There was no way this would go my way. I had to make a decision. Go out with a bang or run. Wait a second. Maybe I could do both if I played my cards right. Meet me in the training clearing in an hour. Bring all the warriors. I link my head warrior. Yes, Alpha. No one besides my family knew that I transferred the title to Seth. I wonder if they would be able to sense it, the shift in power, or if they were so used to me being their alpha they wouldn't be able to tell. I quickly roll out of bed and shower and throw on some clothes before heading to the clearing. This could work, if only to have a distraction so I could figure out what to do next. There was a very small chance that Seth could do any harm to Alpha Jackson, let alone actually kill him. Alpha Jackson was from a long line of alphas, and Seth wasn't. No matter how many times I made him train, it was obvious that he wouldn't ever be able to beat a true alpha. I ring Val one more time on the way out there. The line was completely dead still. The lead trainer was already there, looking around a bit nervous. Alpha? Thank you for coming this early. I wanted to talk to you all. They will be here shortly. May I ask what this is about? He's careful not to meet my eyes. Did you ever find out what happened? What was he talking about? Oh, right. The one warrior we had to borrow. I shake my head. No trace of him, but this is about today's challenge. I quickly change the subject. Yes, Alpha. Slowly, the other warriors arrived, looking tired and confused. Was there really only 20 of them? Where's the rest of them? I ask. This is all of our current warriors, he states, looking at them all. Shit, who was in charge of the warriors usually? That's right, the Gamma. But wouldn't there be more young men that wanted to train? If I came back here, I would need to make sure that this was handled. I needed to be able to protect myself better in the future. Maybe finally appoint a Gamma. It's been long enough. I could trust someone else now they wouldn't know any of my secrets. Of course, even my beta was in the dark. But it has been long enough, and I could use the help evidently. So, I know you've all heard about the challenge with Alpha Jackson of the Moonstone Pack. I asked them. Some of them nodded, but others looked confused. I thought this should be common knowledge. Well, Alpha Jackson has challenged me to take over Silver Moon. I paused, surveying their faces that were a mix of shock and anger. Good, right where I wanted them. Today, in a few hours, he plans to take Silver Moon from me. From us. A few of them grumble. If you haven't heard of Alpha Jackson's reputation, he is known for going against smaller packs, taking them over, and forcing the members to join Moonstone. I raise my voice so it echoes through the clearing. Now he is going after his pack's oldest ally in hopes of making you all submit to his will and relocate you to Moonstone. A few angry shouts from the warriors. Will we let him take us from our ancestral lands? Will we let him pick off our weak and our young? No, they all shouted. Good, I nod, pleased with their uniformity. Well then, I am calling on you all to stand up and defend Silver Moon for every one of our pack members. If Alpha Jackson wins, he will turn you into his pawns and take over Goddess only knows how many more packs. I shake my head, trying to seem disappointed. Will you stand by me and fight for Silver Moon? Yes! A few of them cheer and raise their hands. I smile widely at them all. Now here's the plan. I got the coordinates from the elders. I was going to bring Seth and as many warriors as I could bring. Unfortunately, Juliana and Haley begged to come, so that meant I could only bring 7 of them in human form. That would be enough to get started with. I took one long look around my office, the place that I fought so hard to get and to keep. No matter what happened today, I would get my revenge on Alpha Jackson and his mutt Luna. I had a few things to take care of before we left. Last night I drained all of the accounts and put it into a new one so that no one could access the pack's money if I didn't come back. I packed a few essentials in a duffel bag, all the cash that was left in the vault, a few pairs of clothes, my wallet, and of course, the silver dagger. Seth comes in my office and looks confused. Before I could chastise him for not knocking, I've remembered this was technically his office now. "What are you doing?" he asks me. "Just packing what we discussed. I'm making it look like it's a gym bag so they won't check it." He nods. "Are you ready? The car's out front." "Yes, are you?" "As ready as I'll ever be." I clap him on the back as we head out of my office. "You've got this. You have alpha blood from a line as long as his." I lie. "He's too cocky. It will be his downfall." Seth doesn't say anything. We get in the car with Haley and Juliana, the warriors in the car behind us. "Why are we bringing them?" Haley asks. "We can never be too sure. I don't trust Alpha Jackson." Juliana clings to my arm the entire way there. Jackson. I hear Benjamin walk into the clearing behind us, but I don't turn around. I keep stretching, facing Cam. They finally make it in front of us. He brought his family and a few, what I am assuming to be warriors. They stood behind him with their arms crossed, glaring at me. I wonder what Benjamin told them, or maybe they just had blind loyalty to their alpha. The elders walk in with their witnesses. I wondered where they were hiding before. They stand to one side of the clearing, all but one who stands in the middle. "Alpha Seth, Benjamin, Alpha Jackson." He motions to us. I could see some of his warriors exchange glances. I wonder if Benjamin told them he wasn't Alpha anymore. "I want a good, clean fight. You know the rules. Whoever loses, whether it is by death or my concession, has to give up his pack to the other." "Yes, Elder," I say. "Who will be challenging Alpha Jackson?" The elder turns to them. Seth takes a step forward, seeming confident, but his eyes appraising me give him away. "I am Elder," he says. The elder looks between him and Benjamin. I couldn't decipher the look on his face. "Very well then, Alpha Seth," he says. "Take a few moments to prepare yourselves. The challenge will officially start in 5 minutes." I reach my hand out to Seth. Alpha Seth. I hated the sound of that even in my own head. Seth looked down at it and glared at me, turning his back to me. Benjamin smirked and followed his son. "Don't make this too quick. You don't want him to feel bad about it," Lucas jokes when I join the group. "His son? He thinks his son has a chance?" Cam says, shaking his head. "Sending him off to slaughter." Isla looks worried. She's looking behind me at Seth and Benjamin. I walk over to her and take her face in my hands, leaning it towards me. "This will be over in a few minutes, I promise." I kiss her softly, but she pulls me into her, hungry and passionate, entangling her small hands into my hair. She finally lets go and we're gasping for breath. She gives me a small smile that seems sad. "After this is over, I promise we will go somewhere far away from everything, just the two of us." She nods. "I love you, Isla. Everything will be more than okay." "I love you. Take care of yourself." I squeeze her hand and Abigail comes and takes my place, putting an arm around her. "Watch her," I tell Lucas and Cam, while I'm eyeing up Benjamin and Seth. "All right, Alphas, if you would take your positions, we will start in human form." He raises his voice. "To all the other onlookers, none of you are to interfere in any way. None of you are to shift. You are here to watch." Seth looks at Benjamin nervously. I wish I could hear what he was whispering to him. I take off my shirt and throw it behind me. "Whoa, the alpha shirt," Lucas jokes. I crack a smile before getting into fight mode. "You ready for this?" I ask Flint. I have never been more ready for anything in my life. That's what I thought. I won't go easy on him. Neither will I. Knowing what he tried to do to our mate, our sweet, innocent mate. Flint lets out a growl. We're minutes away from getting our revenge. I get in place, standing a few feet away from Seth. He reluctantly gets into position, taking a deep breath before staring at me, his eyes black. I guess he was going to let his wolf have all the fun. I needed to figure out his fighting style, and I would take the first few moves to figure it out as best as I could so that I could predict his future movements. We circle each other, and I take a quick punch that misses. He ducks out of the way. Instead of using my moment off balance to strike, he moves back and puts his fist up in front of him. A defensive fighter. It might take longer to trip him up, but I could work with that. I don't waste any time and throw a low kick that hits him but doesn't knock him off his feet. He was stronger than he looked. I had to give him credit for that. We circled each other again. He never made a move to attack, so I circled a few more times so that he has to wait for me and threw a punch followed by a kick. He dodged the punch like I expected, but my foot made contact with his stomach. I knew he would dodge right into my kick. This one winded him, put him on his back on the floor. I wasted no time in jumping on top of him. He made a move to block my blows, but I heard a loud crunch when I made contact with his nose. Blood started to pool down his face and his eyes watered. He was able to block the rest of my punches, and as I was going to flip him on his back, his body starting to move, to shake and change under me. Was he shifting already? We were just getting started. Give him to me, Flint growls. I take a few steps back and watch as he turns into a light brown wolf. He was bigger than the average wolf, but nothing compared to a true alpha. Are you seeing his size? I link Cam and Lucas. Yes, you dipshit. We are literally right behind you, Lucas says. Focus, Cam responds. His wolf lunges at me, and I have to drop to the ground to miss him. I let Flint take over, and we shift in a few seconds, standing up in front of Seth's wolf, almost double his size. I could see Seth's wolf recoiling at the sight of Flint. I knew we radiated power, but no true alpha would back down to another alpha. It looks like he's having an internal battle with his wolf, so I take the opportunity to lunge at his front leg. Even though Flint was larger, he was light on his feet. I sink my teeth into his front leg, shaking my jaw. Seth's howls of pain filled the clearing. I let go and he stumbled back. His leg was still attached, but he definitely couldn't stand on him. Do we finish him already? Flint asks, disappointed. For Isla, for Adrastea, yes, they want it over with as soon as possible. Fine. We lunge for his neck this time and he falls back. I sink my teeth into his shoulder and don't let go, standing over him, shaking his small body back and forth. Seth is losing a lot of blood, and I can tell that he is out of it. I throw him behind me and go to assess the damage. One last blow and he would be done. As much as I wanted him to suffer for everything, I wanted this to be over. It wasn't fair to Isla or anyone else that we drag it on. We stalk over to him. Seth looks up at us, his breathing labored. He tries to get up, but he falls back down after putting pressure on his shattered leg. I stand over him and open my mouth, going for one last bite to his throat. My son! Benjamin runs out into the clearing. I look at him, still standing over Seth. Benjamin, there are to be no interruptions, one of the elders shouts. Can I just say one last thing to my son? He says, looking at me pleading. The last words to my only son. I take a step back. If you'll let me, Alpha Jackson, I would like to fight in his place, he says to me, loudly enough so everyone could hear him. The crowd murmurs. I'm sure they were talking the entire time, but I tuned them out before. Benjamin, it seems that the fight is over already. You had your chance to defend your pack, and you let your son go in your place. Should we? We could kill them both, Flint suggests. The idea was tempting. The reason for this was to get Alpha Benjamin gone, and to help Silver Moon, of course, but I didn't know when I would get another shot at him. I shift back. If that is okay with the elders, I am ready to fight Benjamin as well. No, Isla shouts. Benjamin smiles widely. Shall we get on with it then, boy? Seth is gasping behind him. Didn't you want to talk to your son? I think he might die either way, even if you want to fight in his place now. Oh, yes. He walks over to him and says something I can't make out. Seth shifts back. In human form, he looks even worse. Juliana lets out a loud wail. His shoulder bone was exposed, and a deep flesh wound ran from his chest down his back from where Flint shook him. He was bleeding profusely, and his leg was facing the wrong way, blood coming out of my bite mark there too. He looked pale. I did a few good bites on him, but it wasn't more than any alpha could take during a fight. I've recovered from worse. Even if he had the title, that would only give him so much power. An alpha by blood is so much stronger than one that was given the title, or had taken it. Benjamin turns away from his son and stands in front of me, inches apart. Ready when you are, Alpha. He spits the last word. A sharp pain radiates from my stomach, burning. I taste blood in my mouth too. What is happening? I'm disorientated. A brown wolf is standing over me. I must have fallen to the ground at some point. It's Silver, Flint says. What Silver? He attacked us with something silver. I look around, but I don't see anything on the ground. What? How? Right before he shifted. I think in the confusion, he was trying to make it seem like he scratched you before you could shift. Bastard. Let me shift. I'll take care of him. The brown wolf pounces, and I use what feels like the last of my strength to roll away from him. I let Flint take over again. Now that some of the shock and confusion were off, I needed to focus on finishing Benjamin. Then everything would be okay. It was just one wound in my stomach, pouring blood. We would be okay. We needed to finish Benjamin. For Silver Moon. For Isla. For Isla. Chapter 93. The End. Isla. It was so close to being over. I knew it was the end, and then Benjamin has to come in. I shouted before I could help myself, but I don't think anyone heard me. No one reacted, as if it was internal. Maybe it was. I knew that he could take care of himself, and that he wanted to fight Alpha Benjamin more than Seth. I just couldn't bear to have it go on for any longer. I don't think I breathed the entire time he was fighting Seth. My lungs were begging for air, screaming at me. He knows what he's doing. Abigail rubs my arm up and down. Lucas came to stand by me. He's going to make quick work of Benjamin, just like he did Seth. My hands go to my stomach. What was that? I felt a dull ache of pain, and I knew Jackson was in trouble. This wasn't right. Is this because we completed mating? Would I feel all of his pain now to some extent? No, something was wrong. I saw Jackson dodge Benjamin's wolf. Did he already shift? Jackson needed to shift. What was stopping him? Blood. He was bleeding. How? Luna, are you okay? Cameron comes over and helps me stand. I didn't realize I was leaning on Abigail for support. No. I shook my head. Something is wrong. Jackson is hurt. I grasp at my stomach again where the pain was. Benjamin just got a lucky shot, that's all. I bet his wolf is already healing him. Cameron tries to reassure me. Yeah, it's just a little blood. Look, he's back at it. Why didn't they believe me? I saw Benjamin's wolf take a swipe at Flint that made contact with his face. Why didn't I feel that then? There was blood. No, Benjamin did something that was more than a scratch. Flint growls and shakes himself off. He lets out a sharp breath almost like a snort and takes a few steps back, assessing the situation. Flint lunges but misses and staggers back a bit. I fight the urge to mind link him. I need to know if he's okay. Let him focus. He's strong. He's hurt. I know. That's why we need to let him finish this his way. The dark brown wolf takes advantage of Flint's momentary setback and pounces on him. They roll on top of each other until they come to a halt as Flint hits his back on a tree, letting out a low howl. I tense up. I couldn't watch this. My biggest fear was coming to realization before my eyes. He was hurt. Cameron, Lucas, please. Alpha Benjamin did something. I turn towards them. He does look a bit unsteady, Lucas admits. Flint kicks the brown wolf back, momentarily regaining his strength, and gets back to his feet, stalking towards Alpha Benjamin's wolf. The brown wolf growls and gets back to his feet quicker than I thought he could, lunging at him. This time Flint dodges it and gets a bite to the brown wolf's tail, but isn't able to hold on. See, he's back on his feet, Luna. Jackson is the strongest fighter I've ever seen. Cameron tries to reassure me. They walk around each other in a circle. I saw it less of a dance now that I knew someone could really get hurt. No one makes a move for minutes, though it felt like hours. Suddenly, the brown wolf lunges at Flint. Flint meets him in the air and grabs him by his neck. Flint is standing over the brown wolf, who is howling in pain. He wiggles around and thrashes against the forest floor, kicking Flint in the process. Flint is forced to let go after a few minutes. Alpha Benjamin's wolf retreats back, a large wound open on his shoulder. His wolf is struggling to stand upright. Flint lets out a howl. It seems optimistic. I let out a deep breath, trying to steady myself. My hands were shaking and felt clammy. Come on, Jackson. The brown wolf circles around Flint again, struggling to walk, limping on his 3 good legs, blood already matting to his fur from Flint's bite. Jackson wastes no time and lunges for him again. The brown wolf nearly misses his attack. Jackson goes back a second time, this time pinning Alpha Benjamin's wolf to the ground. This is it. It could all be over. Alpha Benjamin's wolf lets out a long, loud howl that shakes the trees in the woods. He is answered by other wolves howling. Wait, other wolves? No one was allowed to shift. I quickly surveyed the clearing and saw that everyone else was in human form. Cameron steps in front of me, holding his arms out. Abigail takes my hand, and Lucas is looking towards the elders. The elder looked confused too, looking around at everyone in the clearing, rapidly talking amongst themselves. Before I had time to ask Cameron what was going on, Alpha Benjamin's warriors shifted, their clothes ripping around them. Our warriors shifted too in response. How many of them would be coming? Would the elders fight? Get them to the car, Lucas yells. Get them out of here. Lucas shifts into his wolf and bounds over to Jackson, who is still in place over Alpha Benjamin's wolf. Cameron grabs my and Abigail's hand before I can fully register what is going on. We're dragged behind him until a wolf jumps in front of us, growling and blocking our path. Get to the car if you can and stay there. I don't want you to try to run anywhere else. I want to have eyes on both of you, Cameron says behind his shoulder before he shifts into his wolf. Abigail and I stare at each other in shock. I'm frozen in place. Cameron makes quick work of the warrior in front of him, leaving him in a pool of blood. Cameron's wolf comes up and stands in front of us, growling at anyone that tries to come near. I try frantically searching for Jackson, but I can't see past Cameron's massive wolf. Do we shift? I ask Abigail. I think that might draw more attention to you, she says, looking around frantically, her eyes darting everywhere, not able to focus. I tried to count how many there were, but I couldn't tell who was on our side or not. Some of the elders shifted too. I finally catch a glimpse of Flint. He's being backed into the forest by 5 wolves. He was strong, but I didn't know if he could take on 5 wolves himself, especially in his condition. Cam, I yell frantically. Help Jackson. We will be okay. Cameron's wolf looks back at me, but doesn't budge. Please! I saw tears filling my eyes in the reflection of his. He looks between us before breaking towards Flint, who looks like he's swaying a bit. He must have lost a ton of blood. He jumps, landing on 2 of the wolves that were surrounding Flint, knocking them down immediately. Flint uses the distraction to grab one of their necks and throw them across the clearing. Cameron takes a bite to one of the wolf's back legs and turns around to bite another one's front leg. 2 wolves jump in front of us and shift back into human form. "Hello, Luna," one of them says, smiling. "We were instructed to take you alive." Fear paralyzes me. I need to shift. Before I can connect to Adrastea, a wolf jumps, knocking both of them to the floor. Was that Abigail? She growls and gets a good claw mark to both of their chests before they shift back. We need to shift. On it! I don't know how to fight. I do. Instincts, baby cakes. We shift in record time. Just leave it to me. Trust your instincts. We might not be the strongest or the most experienced, but we can help. I hope you're right. We survey the field. It looks like even though their numbers were far greater than ours, Moonstone's warriors were immensely better trained. Flint and Cameron's wolf are fighting side by side now, taking care of the last of Alpha Benjamin's warriors. Where was Alpha Benjamin, though? Seth was still lying on the floor, looking quite pale. I couldn't waste time to see if he was breathing. Juliana and Haley were huddled together right outside of the clearing, but still in view. A wolf whimpers next to me, Abigail. Both of the wolves that were trying to take me were facing her now. One of them got hold of her tail. I don't think, just act. I jump on the one that has her tail in its mouth and bite his shoulder. He howls in pain and lets her go, falling back on me. I wiggle out from under him, but both of their eyes are focused on me now. A large wolf jumps on both of them. I think it was Lucas. Abigail's wolf Lilac comes and helps him, biting the one's leg that had her tail. Damn, I was impressed. I never have seen her be any kind of violent before. Flint comes up and stands by me. His breathing is labored. I nuzzle his shoulder as Cameron comes to take Abigail's place and finishes off the 2 warriors. Enough! An elder booms, his voice making the clearing deadly silent. I looked around and saw a lot of injured and dead wolves. Hopefully none of ours, but I can't be that optimistic. Alpha Jackson, can you shift back? Flint lays on the floor and shifts. Jackson is covered in scratches and a few shallow bite marks. It's nothing compared to the gaping wound in his stomach. Why isn't your wolf healing it? Lucas shifts back and sits next to Jackson. It's Silver. He gets out. His face looks pale and his voice sounds far away. Shit, we need a doctor. He's on the way, but he won't be here for another 2 hours. Cameron comes up and says, That was too long. He wouldn't survive that. I shift back, not caring that I'm completely naked, and stand in front of him, taking his head in my hands. Jackson! I wipe the tears from his face, and I realize that the tears are my own. My love, he says. We have someone here that can help temporarily. If it's Silver, the wolf can't heal the wound, so we have to do it the human way. An elder comes up with a man behind him, medical bag in tow. Alpha, I don't have morphine. This isn't going to feel good. Jackson nods and lays back on the ground. I sit on the other side of him and hold his hand, not able to look at the wound. I'm going to do the best I can to clean it, but it will need to be stitched. Jackson groans and holds my hand tighter, as the man wastes no time starting to stitch him up. I hold his hand in both of mine and rub circles on the back of his. It's almost over, Jackson. It's all over. He turns to look at me, his normal piercing blue eyes dull before he closes them. Where is Benjamin? Elder John comes up by Jackson's side and checks his pulse. What happened? Silver, I whispered. His eyes are wide. How? I didn't see anything. Right before he shifted, We think it happened so fast we didn't see it either, Lucas interjects. How is he? He's stable. Probably needs some medication, but he should be okay until the doctor gets here. He lost a lot of blood. The other injuries aren't serious and should be dealt with in a day or two. We just have to cover the wound now, make sure it doesn't get infected. He finishes up and I look at Jackson. His breathing is even, but still more shallow than normal. Where is he now? Elder John repeats. Cameron stands up looking around. I need to take a head count for my men. Then me and anyone who is able can go after him. He couldn't have gotten far with his injury. We are sending a team. They aren't far behind, Elder John says. You stay with your Alpha. Cameron nods and sits next to me, but I could tell he was itching to go. What do we do with the injured? Lucas asks. How many have you seen? Minor injuries from our men. One of them will need to go back with the doctor. Cameron nods. I was thinking about theirs. I think we should attend to their injuries. They are technically pack members now. I want to see their motives behind their actions before we make any decisions. Good. I think that's what Jackson would want too. They get up to go assess Silver Moon's injured. I can barely register anything that they're saying. Jackson's hand starts to feel cold in mine, and even though they told me he was stable, I knew he was weak. I felt weak. I laid my head on his chest and listened to his heartbeat. The only thing that could comfort me a bit, the sound of him being alive. Where is my mate? What did you do to my mate? Juliana stumbles over to us with Haley in tow. I don't move my head. I would let someone else deal with this. I hope your Alpha dies. He deserves it. Someone, I think Abigail, lets out a growl. Why don't you go attend to your son? Elder John growls at her. There's nothing left to attend, Elder. She spits the last word. My baby boy is dead. She started to wail. I was almost inclined to feel bad for her, but I couldn't feel anything for anyone else at the moment. I want him gone. Juliana points to Jackson. He won the challenge fair and square. He beat both of them, even when your mate broke the rules. He would never. Found it. Cameron jogs back to the group. I shifted myself a bit so I could see what he was holding. Something glimmered in the sunlight. He places a silver dagger in front of Elder John and the other elder who were sitting by Jackson's feet. It was a bit away in the woods. Must have thrown it during his shift. I can't believe this, the other elder says. We can, Lucas responds. Don't you dare talk about my mate like that ever again. He would never. It is clear that Alpha Jackson is just power hungry. He ruined my family, drove my mate away, and took my son from me, just out of spite. Juliana gets close to us. I wish she would just go away. You! She yanks my hair, pulling me from Jackson's chest. This is all your fault. If it weren't for you, none of this would have happened. Alpha Jackson would have let us live in peace. Hell, he might have even chosen my daughter as his Luna. But no, you couldn't keep your bitch mouth shut. Cameron and Lucas are there grabbing her. I stand up and motion for them to let her go. Cameron hands me a large shirt from somewhere and I put it over myself. The stained white shirt hanging to my knees. Juliana, I understand that you are upset and that you want to blame someone else for the mistakes of your mate and your family. I hope you come to the realization that this was no one else's fault but his. He was a poor alpha, a poor leader, and now justice has come for him. She starts shaking with rage, and Lucas takes a step between us. That won't be necessary. Thank you, Lucas. I'm truly sorry for your loss. Jackson's fight wasn't with Seth, but with Benjamin. If Benjamin had faced the challenge as a man, then your son would probably still be with us. Juliana starts crying, and I can't tell if they're angry or sad tears. Now, you need to reflect on his choices, on your choices, that have brought you to his bitter conclusion. Once that is done, you and Haley may choose if you still want to have a place in this pack. You will not speak out against any Omega or other pack member. You will not ever dare to lay a finger on me again. If you choose to stay part of this pack, I will be your Luna. Juliana lunged for me, but Cameron and Lucas were faster, each holding one of her arms while she struggled against them. You're an Omega! You will never be my Luna! I shrugged. Suit yourself. I suggest you go home and pack what you can, and we can make arrangements for you to join another pack. I turned my back to her. I want her escorted, Cameron. I don't want her destroying anything else. She can take what can fit in a suitcase or two, and I want her gone by tonight. Yes, Luna. Juliana screams incoherently. She made her choice. Now she was going to have to face those consequences for once in her life. I think you've overstayed your welcome in our Luna's presence, Lucas says as they drag her away. Chapter 94A. Welcome to Silver Moon. Isla. Haley's eyes are wide as she looks between her mother and me. She follows reluctantly behind her, but I could see that she wasn't sure if she wanted to leave. Haley, I call out. She turns back to me, her face pale. You're welcome to stay. We can have a house arranged for you if you agree to the terms of Moonstone's pack. She nods but doesn't say anything. I'll think about it. She pauses. Thanks, Luna, she says and turns away to follow where Cameron and Lucas were taking Juliana. Jackson groans and I drop back over him. That was a sign. I'm not sure if it was good or bad, but at least it was something. Cameron and Lucas come back within minutes. Where is she? I ask, not taking my eyes off Jackson's chest, lightly breathing in and out. She's headed back with 2 of our warriors that have minor injuries. I bet Benjamin took most, if not all, of his warriors here, so there shouldn't be any problems back there. I nodded. What should we do now, Luna? I look up at Lucas. He never called me that unless he was joking. With Jackson temporarily down, I guess I was the highest ranked member. I want Jackson back at Moonstone until he's healed. My voice cracks at the end. When he is recovered, we will head to Silver Moon, I say with a bit more confidence in my voice. I think it would be best if you both went to Silver Moon. We can't leave the pack members unattended, and I'm sure there will be a lot of questions. I'll have William watch over Moonstone with my help while Jackson is recovering. I nod slightly to myself. Yes, that makes the most sense. Yes, Luna, Cameron says. Do I have permission to go back and bring some of our warriors? Of course. I make brief eye contact with him, scared that if I looked away for too long, Jackson would stop breathing. I think you should both go and pack a bag. I'm not sure how long it will take him to heal. Yes, Luna. I will leave immediately while the Gamma deals with the injured here. I hear light footsteps crunch in the fallen leaves. Wait, I get out, barely a whisper. I fight to control myself, but it takes a few breaths. Stay until the doctor gets here. My voice cracks. Please. Silent tears start falling down my face. I didn't know how long it was until he got here, but every minute, every second was another chance at losing my mate, my Alpha, my Jackson. Lucas and Cameron come and sit on either side of me without saying a word. My hands are holding one of Jackson's again, and Cameron puts an arm around me while Lucas leans his head against my shoulder. I felt a bit better having them there. I knew that they cared about Jackson more than anything. More than an Alpha, he was their best friend, their brother. The team is here. One of the elders came up to where Jackson was lying. I forgot that Elder John was still sitting by Jackson's feet. He was looking heartbroken and nervous himself. I felt bad for not thinking of him, but I couldn't, not right now. Elder John stands up and brushes the dirt and leaves from his pants. Luna, Beta, Gamma, the elder addresses us. I look up for a second, not wanting to be rude in an elder's presence. We have a team of trackers that will hunt down previous Alpha Benjamin's trail. With that amount of blood spilled, his trail should be easy to follow, and he couldn't have gotten very far. Thank you, Gamma, for offering to help us, but you have done more than enough here. You and your team saved many lives today, and not just of your pack members, but of the elders as well. It will not be forgotten. Cameron stiffens beside me. Thank you, Elder. He squeezes my shoulder as he stands up to shake his hand. It was an honor. I will let you know if there's any news and return to Moonstone as soon as my job here is done. Elder John says to us, He will be fine, Isla. Thank you, I managed to whisper, my voice sounding far away like it was coming from someone else. Abigail rushed up to Jackson's side. He's close, she announced. I didn't even notice that she left. Wasn't she just here by my side? When did she leave? Cameron stands up. I'm going to go wait for him, Luna. I nod. Jackson was still breathing. Blood covered the patch that the man put over his stitches. He was breathing, shallow, but he was still with us. You're going to be okay. I lean over and whisper to him, leaning my head back on his chest, listening to his steady heartbeat. Lucas sits up next to me, and I lift my head to follow his line of vision. Cameron runs back through the trees, followed by Abigail, holding Jim's hand. Jim was wearing a long shirt and nothing else. He anxiously looked around until his eyes focused on Jackson. He rushed up and knelt beside him. I'm sorry, Luna, Beta. Could you take a few steps back? I want to assess the situation. Lucas takes my hand and pulls me unwillingly back. Cameron walks off as soon as the doctor gets to Jackson. Where is the car? The nurses? Lucas asks. I realize that no one else but Jim was with us. They're following behind, should be here in 30 or so. Jim looks Jackson over, then listens to his heartbeat. He raises a hand up to us to be quiet. I ran here with my medical bag in my mouth, he states casually, as if this was a normal house call. He takes out a needle with some clear liquid in it and injects it into Jackson's arm. This will help with the pain, he says, and waits a minute before undressing his stitches. He sighs. These stitches aren't great, but I'm assuming it was the best they could do. He takes a closer look. Yes, it's fine for now. Once the medical van comes, I'll redo the stitches in the back before we start driving and get him cleaned up. Besides that wound, he seems to be fine. He looks at me huddled into Lucas. He will be fine, Luna. I am pleased to say. Just needs some rest and medication, and he should be back to his normal self in even a day or so. I start crying all the emotions that I was holding in the past few hours. Tears of relief washed over me mixed with anger, sadness, and fear. Lucas puts his arm around me and lets me cry for a few minutes. I sniffle and wipe my nose. Gross, Luna, Lucas teases. They're here, he says, looking up at two nurses carrying a stretcher into the clearing. Finally. Luna, Cameron walks back up to us. I'm having my men meet us here so we can transport the survivors of Silver Moon. There were only 5 that survived, he states, looking around the field. The elders said they would dispose of the bodies. 5? I asked, my voice sounding hoarse. He nods. I would say there were almost 20 or so in total when the fight broke out. They were weak, though, some of the weakest warriors I've ever encountered. Even though we had 8 fighters and some help from a few of the elders, it was a fast fight. I took down one of them in 2 moves. He shakes his head. Never seen anything like it, he mutters. We're going to have them treated and watched over. I've talked to the ones that are conscious, explaining what's going to happen. One of them said that Benjamin told them that Alpha Jackson wanted to take the pack because of his greed and forced them to move to Moonstone. It seems they thought they were defending their pack and their honor. He shrugs. I'll get the truth out, but we can't fault them for trying to defend their pack when all they knew was Benjamin's side. I nod. Thank you, Cameron. He smiles at me. I'll see you in a few days, Luna. Jackson is loaded onto the stretcher, and I follow Lucas and the doctor who are carrying Jackson along with help from 2 elders. Lucas and Abigail and I waited outside for the longest 15 minutes of my life. This day has felt like years. I didn't know time could slow down this much. I always felt that time was linear, or I thought it was. That's what everyone always said, but it wasn't really. Not when you were waiting for something of this magnitude, for someone that your life depended on to come back to you. Well, Jim came out, brushing off his hand. Some blood on his shirt made me worried. He's good as new. Well, he will probably have a scar, but he should be healed in a few days. He smiles. I cling onto Abigail. It was over. He was okay. I wouldn't feel right until he woke up, until I could see his eyes again. But I would take this. I had to take this. Let's get him back to the Pack Hospital now, Luna. Beta, my lovely mate, would you like to ride with us? I nodded and get in the back. There were 2 long benches on either side of his stretcher. I sit next to his head and take one of his hands in mine. A nurse is sitting next to me, keeping an eye on some machines around him. He had something over his mouth, wet with condensation from his breath. The wound was freshly dressed, and there was no blood seeping through it, which seemed to be good. Abigail sits next to me and takes my other hand. Jim looks over the machines and adjusts something that looks like it's attached to his arm. I gave him some medication. He's in a deep sleep now, so he won't feel any pain. I nod at his explanation. Lucas bites his lip across from me, thinking, once we get him settled, I'm going to pack my bags and go to Silver Moon tonight. Now that we know he will be okay, I'll start settling things there. I know what he wanted to do there. I nod. Thank you, Lucas. And thank you for, staying. Don't sweat it, Luna. He flashed me his signature grin, and I returned it without thinking. Once we got him settled in the clinic and hooked up to the machines, I felt a bit better. Luna, you need to eat. Maybe take a shower and change. You'll feel a lot better, Jim says. I nod. He was right, but I wasn't leaving Jackson. I knew something would happen while I was away. He sighs. How about I have Gianna bring some clothes and food down, and I'll bring in a cot for you to sleep here. That sounded better. You won't have to leave the room. There's an ensuite bathroom here. Not the most luxurious, but I'm sure you'll manage. He smiles at me and comes over and puts a hand on my shoulder. He will be fine, I promise you. I'll start to wean him off the medication tomorrow. I just want him to stay asleep so his wolf can fully focus on healing the other wounds the best that he can. Thank you. Jim dressed his other wounds on the way back. None of them needed stitches, but he still wanted to clean and to cover them for a while to help the healing process even more. It made me feel better not seeing any visible scratches or scars, besides 2 marks on his face that were already fading to a light pink. Has anyone told Gianna and William? That was probably my job now that I thought about it. I'm not sure. On cue, Gianna comes bursting in the room. Oh, my baby, she exclaims, running over to him, tears spilling out of her eyes. Is he okay? Please tell me he will live. She turns to Jim. Yes, Gianna, he is fine, just resting, he assures her. When I saw the medical van, I ran into Lucas. You know I didn't hear anything from anyone today. I was waiting anxiously all day here, she blubbers. And then she leans her head on Jackson and starts crying. To see him like this? William comes in flushed but looks relieved when he sees Jackson. He's okay? He asks Jim. Jim nods once. Okay, doctor. Thank you. I wish someone would have told us sooner, but no need to worry us, I guess. William comes and puts one hand on my shoulder, and the other rubs Gianna's back as she's still sobbing in Jackson's chest. Gianna, do you mind? The doctor says politely. He has a wound in his stomach. Gianna jumps back and wipes her eyes. I'm sorry. She leans into William's chest. My son, my only son. I'll fill you in. A lot happened today, I sigh. William, can I ask you a favor? Anything, dear. I need help running the pack. Lucas and Cameron are heading to Silver Moon. I think Cameron is already there, actually, to figure things out until Jackson and I can join them. It would be my honor, Luna, he says. Gianna, I ask her. Yes, dear. Can you maybe bring me down some clothes and maybe some food whenever you're ready? I hate to ask you, but I don't want to leave, and you know where everything is. I rush, feeling guilty asking her to leave her son. I know she was just as upset as I was. Of course, she smiles at me. But promise me something. She raises an eyebrow. What? I'm the first to know next time my son is injured. She places a kiss on my forehead. Yes, ma'am, I say. Ew, I'm not old. She waves her hand and leaves. Lasagna okay with you both? William and I nod. Don't go to any trouble, I say. I need a distraction. William will stay with Jackson so you can get out of whatever you're wearing after I bring your clothes, and then I'll start our dinner. She disappears and I look down at my dress that is covered in dirt and dried blood. I wondered how I must look for the first time all day. Isla. The doctor came in early. I couldn't sleep on the cot, even though it was right next to Jackson's bed. It was too far away. I got out and snuggled up next to him, making sure not to move any of the wires attached to him. I breathed in his scent of fresh pine, rain, and cloves, and drifted off into a deep sleep. Isla? I hear a voice. I shoot up in bed, confused. I was just coming in to check on Jackson and start taking him off the pain medication. I nod at the doctor and silently get out of bed and lay on my cot, embarrassed that I was caught sneaking into Jackson's bed. I couldn't get to sleep, so I decided to distract myself and get ready for the day. Gianna brought down a lot of skincare products and makeup and decided to test a mask out and turn on a movie. I stayed with Jackson all morning, holding his hand. There was a knock at the door and William came in. Luna? He nods. Oh, he was in alpha mode. I just came in to give you the official report from the Beta and Gamma. Of course, sit down. I motioned to the chair across the room. He pulls it toward me next to Jackson's bed. Most of the pack didn't know about the challenge, it seemed. There were some rumors, sure, but it wasn't widely known. My eyebrows furrow. But is that usually common knowledge? Did everyone here know? I ask. He nodded. We make sure to tell everyone just in case something happens, so they aren't in shock. It's not just the alpha, but the pack that is at risk in these challenges, so it affects everyone. That makes sense. Lucas held an informal meeting and introduced himself and Cameron. It seems some of the Omegas recognized them and felt at ease, so that helped with the introductions. The general consensus, at least among the Omegas, was relief. The other pack members seemed confused but not angry. I think once the news settles in, they will accept it. He looks down at a sheet of paper he brought. Cameron has already started a new training program. I smile, not one day in, and he's making them work. They have lost most of their warriors, and there wasn't a formal training program in place, so he's essentially starting from scratch. He thinks he will leave behind his second-in-command when he returns, and then go and check on them frequently. It seems he has his work cut out for him. He glances back down. Lucas was trying to figure out about the funds and the state of the pack, but all of it seemed to be encoded on a computer. We might have to get one of our contacts in it to hack it. I'm going to work on making those calls today. Thank you. Lucas is also looking for the papers on Silvermoon's family line. He found a safe, but it was open and completely empty. However, we have multiple copies, so he thinks that they must have them too. He also showed me this. William pulls up a picture on his phone. I squinted to look at it. A family symbol on dark wood paneling, the same symbol I wore across my neck. It was hard to make out for a second because there were large claw marks across it. "Where is this?" I asked, but I already knew. "The Alpha's office." We already knew that was the Silvermoon symbol. I wasn't surprised now. William looks back at the photo. "I can't tell why anyone would scratch this out." He shakes his head. "I'm sure we will find out the answers we've been looking for." "The lead Omega also seems to be in distress." I roll my eyes. "A friend of yours?" he asks. "Not even close. I'll need to appoint a new one. I'll consult with Abigail on it." He nods. "We can make the change when we get there." I look at Jackson, still sleeping peacefully. "How is he doing?" he asks me, his voice softening. "The doctor came in this morning to wean him off the medication. I think he's going to come back soon, and then I hope—" William places his hand on my shoulder. I look to him. "He will wake up. He needs the rest." I nod and look down. I know he's okay, but I needed Jackson to be the one to tell me that, not anyone else. He's lucky to have you. Chapter 94B. Welcome to Silvermoon. "I'm the lucky one," I mutter. He laughs. "Jackson has been waiting for you for a long time. He wasn't going to leave you this soon." He stands up. "I should be getting back to it. Link me with any changes." "You'll be the first to know." He shakes his head. "The second. Link my mate first." He smiles at me. Gianna came to bring me food, and I didn't realize how hungry I was. She sat with me through a movie, and I was grateful for the company and momentary distraction. I felt a light twitch in my hand, and my eyes immediately shot to him. Was that real? I felt another twitch, and Jackson shook his head. "Doctor, I think he's waking up." "Be right in." He moves a bit more, tensing some muscles before he opens up his eyes and stares at the ceiling before looking at his arm with the IV in it. He squeezes my hand and then looks at me. His eyes, the ones I remembered, not out of focus or cloudy, striking blue. "What did I miss?" He flashes me a huge smile. "Jackson!" I yell and hesitate for a moment before I wrap my arms around him, careful not to touch his stomach. "I'm so happy," I say into his neck. He places a hand on my back. "Gianna, he's awake." "William, he's up." I link them both, wanting to spend hours alone with him, but he wasn't just mine. "Ah, Alpha." The doctor walks in. "How are you feeling?" I step back and sit in my chair next to his bed, not letting go of his hand. "A bit sore, tired, but nothing out of the ordinary. How is your stomach?" He looks confused and then looks down through the top of his hospital gown, realization washing over him. "Silver, I remember," he groans. "It's going to heal as slow as a human wound, that one." Jim nods. "The rest of your wounds are almost completely gone. No broken or fractured bones either." He nods approvingly. "How long do I have to stay here?" "Normally I would say a few days." Jackson groans again, this time not because of pain. "But," Jim holds up his hand, "I know you have work to attend to, and I wouldn't dare go against my Alpha's wishes." He smiles into his clipboard. "How about you stay tonight, and then I can release you in the morning. I still need to wean some pain medication out of you. I'll inform the doctor of Silvermoon about your condition and give you some medication to help ward off any infection." "Thank you, Jim," Jackson says. "I'm sure I owe you my life. It is my duty to protect you, Alpha. Besides, one of the Elder's men stitched you up. Without that, well, you might have been worse off." My heart clenches up just thinking about what the doctor was implying. A near miss was too close. Gianna and William come running in. I take a few steps back to give them some space. I'm going to go see Abigail, I say to Jim. Link me when he needs me. I want to give them some time. William has a lot to inform Jackson of too. Will do, Luna. He smiles and follows me out of his room. The next morning, we are up early, and Jackson wants to get on the road as soon as possible, despite his stitches. Sitting is hard for him due to the nature of the placement of his wound, so he has to lean across the back seat of one of our SUVs. The drive was quiet, peaceful. I felt like I could breathe for the first time in a while. We entered the thick forest around Silver Moon. The sun almost blocked out completely during the drive up to the front gate. 2 warriors were standing guard at the front. I don't remember them ever having someone at the gate before. We pull up and one of them looks into the back of the car from the passenger window. I didn't recognize him as one of our warriors. He must be someone from Silver Moon. Alpha, Luna. He bows his head to us. Welcome to Silver Moon. Chapter 95. Kitchen Celebrations. Jackson. Lucas and Cam are waiting for us outside the front doors of the pack house. I felt a momentary surge of pride as I realized this beautiful place belonged to me now, belonged to us. I made a silent vow that I would restore this pack and make it better than it has ever been under Benjamin's leadership. These pack members deserved it. My pack members deserved it. I groaned, sitting up, and Isla looked back at me concerned. It's nothing. Just not used to having a wound take this long to heal. I tried to reassure her. But the worry doesn't leave her eyes. As soon as we get out of the car, Cam and Lucas come up to us smiling. Glad you finally made it. Lucas claps me on the back. You know, you could have rested a bit longer, but it's nice to have you here. Cam adds. I'm sure Isla and your father filled you in, he asks. Yes, I'm up to speed with everything. Is there anything else I need to know about? I don't think so. I want to show you a layout of the pack house and lands when you're feeling up to it. This afternoon, I want to show you what I've been working on with the new warriors. Bryce has been recruiting young men and women for the cause, and some show real potential. Good work. Tonight, we are going to host an informal dinner. A barbecue out back for all of the pack members to get to know their new Alpha and Luna. What is the general consensus around us merging? It seems okay. Most people are still confused, but they seem optimistic. No one has outwardly spoken out against it anyway. That's a start. I'll address them all this evening. I'll go with Lucas to the office to see if there's anything else that can be found. Cam, do you want to return to your warriors and I'll meet you with them in an hour or so? Yes, Alpha. Cam wastes no time heading around back, eager to get back to it. Lucas, Isla, and I walk into the pack house. It was a strange feeling knowing this place technically belonged to me, yet it was so unfamiliar, so foreign. There were a few Omegas around, and the moment they saw us, they froze. Hello, I called to them. Isla came up and places her small hand in mine. They didn't move, so I walked up to them. My name is Jackson. This is my beta, Lucas, and my Luna, Isla. I smile at them. What are your names? Yes, hi. One of them trips over her words. The other Omega steps in for her. My name is Ava, and this is Savannah. It's great to meet you all, she says, lowering her head in respect. The other Omega nods vigorously next to her. My beta is hosting a barbecue this evening out back, and we were wondering if you would like to attend. They look at each other unsure. Don't worry, we're going to get it catered. We would love some help with the setup, but it won't be extra work for you. Lucas butts in. Yes, thank you, Alpha, Beta, Luna, Ava says. Thank you, Savannah adds, dropping her eyes to her feet. Isla, did you want us to come up with you to appoint the new head Omega? I ask her. I don't think that's necessary. You have a lot to catch up on. Link me if you need anything. I place a quick kiss on her forehead. and reluctantly let her hand go, heading to the elevator. I hear her talking to the Omegas, and they seem to visibly relax in her presence. Benjamin's office was a complete mess, papers everywhere. The financial books he was keeping showed us that they were quickly running out of money. That is, if these were even correct. Where was it all going? Every established pack I knew had companies started years ago, and usually a new business started every other generation or so. My great-great-grandfather started a small hardware shop, and now we own one of the largest franchises in North America. My dad started getting into finance and stocks, and I took his idea and expanded on it, and started a brokerage and consulting firm. My dad thought that Silver Moon used to be huge in construction, one of the biggest names around here. It doesn't make sense how they were leaking money and not having any new income. They should be as well off as we were, if not more so, because they have fewer pack members to provide for. Find anything about another safe? I ask Lucas. There has to be a copy of the pack records somewhere, I say, shuffling papers around. This is honestly giving me a headache. I haven't found it yet. I looked in the basement once and around his office and the alpha rooms. No sign of it so far. To be honest, I have mostly been trying to figure out the accounts. And his beta? Jerry? We talked. He didn't seem to know anything. He let me look around his office and there was literally nothing of importance there. Lucas shakes his head. Either he got rid of it all or Benjamin didn't trust him with anything important. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Me either. What does he want to do? He said he's willing to help as much as he can with the transition, but again, he doesn't have too much information. From the sounds of it, he didn't talk to Benjamin frequently. I couldn't imagine that. I see Lucas and Cam multiple times a day. Even if they weren't my closest friends, I still would see them at trainings, meals, and we usually have at least one pack catch-up or meeting daily. Once the transition is over, then what? He says he just wants to retire. He asked that he would be allowed a house somewhere far away from the pack house, but still on pack lands. If he helps us as much as he can, I will have no problem arranging that. I stand up momentarily, forgetting about my stitches. A sharp pain hits my abdomen. You okay, boss? Just the stitches. Fuck, I groan. I'm going to check on Cam's new warriors. I want to meet with the beta this afternoon before we start the barbecue. I'll arrange it. Thanks. It took me longer than expected to get to the clearing. This wound would have to heal soon if I was supposed to get anything done on time. I was almost surprised to see that he had almost 30 people there that I didn't recognize, along with some of Moonstone's pack warriors. Most of them seemed young enough, a little nervous when they saw me come up. Alpha, Bryce greets me, walking up to stand by my side. Cam was showing the new warrior some of his signature moves. Bryce, I nod. How was everything going? When we got here, it was bad. The Gamma was right about the previous Alpha taking all of his warriors. There were only 5 left, the ones that the Gamma brought back from the challenge. They have already pledged their alliance to the Gamma. How are the new warriors? Promising. They are a bit nervous, which is to be expected. I think we can get them in shape soon enough. We're going to start training twice a day. Good. Cam walks up to me and turns to face the warriors. I want to introduce you all to your Alpha, Alpha Jackson. Hello, Alpha, they say. I take a few steps towards them, assessing them. Thank you all for being here. I know that this is new to most of you, and I appreciate you all stepping up. Being a warrior is one of the most important, if not the most important job that you can do for this pack. You are entrusted with this pack's safety. You will be at the front line of any attack, defending your pack. It is an honor and a responsibility that I'm hoping that you all take very seriously. I look at them all individually. If at any time you feel that this is too much or you are not able to fully commit to this new role, you are free to leave. They look between each other. It's not a trap or a trick, I try to assure them. There will be no negative repercussions. We only want those of you that can commit to the level that this role requires. Fully commit. I pause. Now, Bryce has told me that you are all very promising. I can't wait to see how you progress further through the Gamma and Bryce's leadership. I nod. Do you understand what is being asked of you? Yes, Alpha, they reply in unison. All right then, I smile. Let's see what the Gamma has been showing you. I watched them spar for the next hour and give them pointers. It was obvious that they were new to this, but they were fast learners and took criticism well. I knew that having Cameron and Bryce here, as well as some of our warriors, would shape these young warriors into professionals in no time. It would be easier than retraining all the warriors here. Goddess knows what poor training they were used to. The 5 warriors that were left seemed to be open to the new regiment and were helping the newer ones spar. I was confident that we were building a good foundation for the future of our pack and the warriors here. Isla. Walking back into the pack house for the first time as the Luna was surreal. I left here as a rogue and came back a neighboring Luna, and now I'm their Luna. The Luna. Heck yeah, you are, baby girl. Abigail and I went back and forth about who to make the new lead Omega. There were so many deserving Omegas, but we finally both agreed it should go to Rosaline. She was a soft-spoken Omega who was respected by everyone, never caused any trouble, and was the first one to lend a hand when someone needed help. We guessed that she's in her late 40s or early 50s, so she still has years ahead of her, as well as years of experience under her belt. As much as I would love to have Megan humiliated, I needed to do the right thing as a Luna and talk to her before I made the announcement. As soon as I walked into the kitchen, I heard the Omegas whispering about the barbecue tonight. They freeze when I walk in, and I smile at them all before going to knock on Megan's door. Thankfully, she was in there. I walked into her feet up on the desk, looking at the end of her ponytail. When she saw me, her eyes went wide. Wasn't she expecting me to show up at some point? She knew Benjamin lost. What are you doing? She sneers after composing herself, sitting up in her chair. I came with my Alpha to assess the situation here. She rolls her eyes. Well, we're doing just fine, so I don't see a point. I stand behind the chair across from her desk, but don't sit down. You had to know I was coming. We weren't just going to take over a pack, especially one so poorly run, and then leave them to their own devices. I raise an eyebrow, and she averts her eyes, going back to play with her ponytail. I'm going to offer you a choice, Megan. Like the one you gave Juliana? She slams her hands on the desk. Haley came to say goodbye, half scared to death. Banishing her because you didn't like how her father ran the place? Your Alpha is some sick fuck, you know that. He is your Alpha now too, I say calmly. I will give you the same choice I gave them. You may stay here and work as an Omega and obey the rules of Moonstone, or you may leave. They chose to leave. I shrugged. She snorts. You banished them. Say what you will, but you are no longer head Omega. You clearly don't have the qualifications, and you are through harassing my Omegas, my people. You may choose to live in the new village that we are setting up. I paused, giving her a pointed look. And actually participate and help out. Or you may choose to leave. We will let you choose another pack, and you can take your things and go. It's up to you. You're not kicking me out. She stands up now. I never said I was. The choice is yours. In the meantime, please clean out your office. A new head Omega will be starting tomorrow. I would ask you to train her, but... I shrug. You clearly had no idea what you were doing. I'm sure she can figure it out. I give her a dazzling smile. I'm not leaving, she says through gritted teeth. That's fine. We will have a cottage set aside with your name on it. I turn towards the door. No! She throws something against the wall, making me jump, the sound of glass shattering behind me. I'm not leaving the office. Cameron, do you mind sending some warriors to escort Megan from her office? On it. Are you okay? I am. She's just angry. Thanks. I look at her over my shoulder. You have until tomorrow morning to make your decision. You bitch! I slammed the door behind me. A group of Omegas are standing around the kitchen. Do you mind linking all the Omegas to come here when they get a chance? Whatever work they are doing can wait, I ask them. I walk over to make a pot of coffee. This kitchen felt familiar, felt like home, and I was surprised to notice that I kinda missed it. Does anyone else want some coffee? I ask. No one says anything, so I turn around. Really? None of you want coffee? I don't believe that. I smile. I'll have some. Someone says, whose name I don't know. A few others chime in. Soon enough, we're all surrounding one of the kitchen islands, falling into comfortable chatter like old times. Except this time, we were actually allowed to talk, and there wasn't an air of fear in the room. So, is there really going to be cottages built for us? One of them asks apprehensively. I nod and smile at her. Yes, 1 cottage per person, and bigger ones set aside for families. They gasp and look to each other. We get our own place? One of them asks. And we're going to redo all the rooms here, so if you would rather stay in the pack house, you'll get your own room if you decide to live here. I smile at their expressions. It was more than I would have dreamed of as an Omega here. It will probably still take a few months to complete, so while we're doing renovations, we're going to open up the rooms of the main pack house. There are so many empty rooms here on the ranked floors. Some of you might have to share still, but they will be far more comfortable than what you're used to. We can stay on the ranked members' floors? One asks. They're not going to be used at the moment. All the visiting ranked members can share the alpha floor. It makes the most sense. I shrug. The Omegas started to come down. When I spot Rosaline and most of the Omegas are crowded into the kitchen, I stand up on my chair so that I can address everyone and see them all. Hi, everyone. Hi, Luna, they responded. Please, call me Isla still. I smile at them. I hope you can hear me? They nod. Perfect. Well, we have a few exciting announcements coming, and I wanted to explain to you all what was going on. I tell them in detail about the challenge, where Juliana and Haley were, and what was going to happen to their living arrangements, which made the Omegas that weren't there to hear me say it the first time got really excited. I loved sharing good news with them. It made me feel amazing to give back to all these incredible people and give them what they so rightfully deserved and were deprived of. I'm glad Jackson decided to challenge Alpha Benjamin for Silver Moon. He was already doing so much good for this pack, and I was honored to stand by his side. I wanted to introduce our new lead Omega, if you will, the position that is. I pause and make eye contact with Rosaline. Rosaline. Her mouth hangs open as claps and cheers explode around the room. I swear I saw the door crack open to Megan's office, but I couldn't be bothered to spare it a second glance. The Omegas push her towards me. Is that okay? I whisper to her. Her cheeks flush and she nods enthusiastically. Perfect. Well, everyone, please welcome your new lead Omega, Rosaline. Cheers erupt again, and I clap loudly, joining them. Your first assignment is for room arrangements for all the Omegas so we can start construction this week. This week? She looks flushed before she nods. I'm on it, Luna. Isla. Last thing, we're having a barbecue tonight. They look around to each other confused. Don't worry, it's catered. They all breathe a sigh of relief. You're all invited, of course, but I would love some help setting up. I get down off the chair and take Rosaline's hands in mine. Thank you, Luna. I can't believe this. Abigail and I thought long and hard, and we know you were the best choice for this position. I smile at her. Your office should be clear tomorrow, and we will help you redecorate. I added in a whisper. Her eyes are full of happy tears, and I squeezed her hands. Right on cue, Cameron walks in with a few young warriors and looks at me. I point to the office and he nods. He opens the door forcefully and nods to the warriors to go in. Megan yells a string of profanities. She is dragged out with one warrior on either side. I can fucking walk myself, you little pieces of shit, she screams. You made your decision, Cameron says coldly. Get her out of here. he says to the warriors. They drag her out the back door, kicking and screaming. You bitch! You're not going to get away with this, she yells at me. I make eye contact and smile sweetly. As soon as she's out the door, all the Omegas cheer louder than ever. I think this calls for champagne, I say. I easily found the keys in Megan's desk and go to the cooler to grab a few bottles of the sparkling we weren't even allowed to look at before. Everyone grab a glass and then let's get to work setting up the barbecue. See Rosalind for your assignments. Rosalind looks around for a pen and paper and starts frantically writing. Take a few long moments to enjoy your drinks, please, she says, and everyone laughs. Everyone grabs a glass or mug, whatever they can find, and I fill everyone's cup up with a little champagne. A toast. I hold up my coffee mug of champagne. To a new beginning for us all. And for the Luna, one of them shouts. And to our new Luna. I smile, and we all raise our glasses. I couldn't plan the afternoon better if I tried.